What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad life choices, going over to scoresandodds.com where you got picks from me, and Dino, all the greats. Plus, you get access to a nice little prop checking tool where you can see exactly what we have projected for each individual prop, plus where the best lines are, and most importantly, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge. It's my Discord where I'm throwing in all my bets each and every day. It's been a rough week for me. It's been a really rough week for me. But you know what? I had 2 great months prior to this. So you know what? It happens. It happens. Discord, throwing the link to the Discord into the chat there. But yeah, it's been terrible. Always seems to happen at least once a year. Last January was, I think, my worst month I've ever had sports betting, and then knocked it off with 2 of my best months, and was preceded by 2 of my best months. So had 2 great months before this. We'll see how this ends up going, but I got plenty of bets today. We got some basketball. We got some football. We got Thursday Night Football. It's a terrible, terrible game. Absolutely horrible, but, we got some bets for it. First off, we have Shi Smith over 6 or 5.5 receiving yards. You can do this at -120 over at MGM. Basically, is he going to get a catch? He's had a catch in most of his games. He's been targeted. I know that PJ Walker is awful, but 5.5 yards is too low. I've projected for around 15. Should be able to get a catch in this spot here. Next up, we have PJ Walker under 170.5 passing yards, -115 over at Betfred. He's not good. He's been terrible. Outside of the one game versus Atlanta, he's really not done much of anything. He has a decent chance they might not even play the entire game. He's been so terrible. 170 is a super low passing line, but it's probably too high. Realistically, I have him projected for around 150, making this a solid overall bet. Marcus Mariota over 157.5 passing yards. You can get this at -110 over at FanDuel. Mariota, while he hasn't been great so far this season, he hasn't been bad. He just hasn't been throwing a ton. This is a spot where they're likely to throw the ball not a ton, but around 25 times in this game. Mariota over 157. He's got Drake London. He's got Pitts. He's got Cordero Patterson in there. Hasn't hit a huge clip, but still averaging around 170.2 passing yards per game on the season. I'm rolling with the over. Next up, DJ Moore under 4.5 receptions. In the 5 games where PJ Walker has been the quarterback, DJ Moore has hit the over on this twice. One of those games was he didn't hit the over until the last play of the game, last play of regulation, and then hit the over again or added one more in overtime. But outside of that, if you take that pass off the board, he hasn't gotten more than 4 outside of one game. He's been well under that in most games. He has not been very good overall. I'm rolling with the under. Got some basketball bets. We got Kristaps Porzingis over 20.5 points. He's averaging right around 19.4 on the season. It's not a great matchup versus Dallas, but the shot volume has been good enough so far. It's a revenge game going up against Dallas. I'm rolling with the over. Kyle Kuzma under 2.5 assists, getting this at +116 over at FanDuel. Kyle Kuzma, he's been solid overall this season, not passing the ball a ton, not getting a ton of potential assists, sitting at 4.5, I believe, on the season, which should average out to around 2.1 to 2.3 assists per game. He's currently averaging 2.1. He's hit the under in this in, I think, all but 3 games so far this season. Just has not been dishing out the ball much at all. We're getting this at plus odds over at FanDuel, +116. Let's see if that line's changed. I assume it's changed over at FanDuel, as it does many times when I bet. +120 over at PointsBet, so you can get even better odds over at PointsBet. Most places, FanDuel's at -105, so go bet it over at PointsBet. Tyrese Maxey under 33.5 points, rebounds, assists. I think that's just a little bit too high. Embiid's back in here. I know Harden's still gone, and Maxey's still doing a ton, but 33.5 is too high of a number. John Collins over 6.5 rebounds. You can get this at -137 over at Caesars. Collins is averaging, I think, 8.1. He's missed in the last 3 games, which is why this number has dropped down to 6.1. We haven't currently projected for over 8. It's just too low of a line. I think we haven't projected for 8.2. Is that correct? I mean, there's always a chance that things have been up to 8.06. Line's already moved to -149. And most places it's moved to 7.5 now. All right. I'd still probably take it at +112 over at 7.5. John Collins over 11.5 points, -130 over at DK. It's also minus 115 over at PointsBet. So if you can take it over at PointsBet, I took it both, but PointsBet won't let me get anything down really. Collins is averaging, what is he averaging? He's averaging well over that. John Collins, game log. Looking at it, he is averaging 12 this month, 13.7 last month. So well over this number. I know it's not an easy match, but I know you're paying a decent amount of juice. But I mean, there's a reason why I took it at minus 115 and minus 130. Minus 124 now over at FanDuel. So still solid lines all over the place. I'd still roll with that. We only project for 11.73, but I think that number's a bit low here. Trae Young over 25.5 points. I took it at minus 115 over at DK. Took it again over at FanDuel at minus 111. Trae Young, we currently have projected for 29.76 points. Overall, he's averaging 29 per game this season. Has not been shooting the goal great, sitting around 40%. That's going to turn around at some point. Shot volume has been fantastic. Had 22 plus in every single game this season outside of one, averaging 22.4 shot attempts per game this season. Should be an easy over. We're talking about Collins. Bam Adebayo, over 31.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 113 over at FanDuel. Gets a matchup versus Charlotte. It's a solid overall matchup. Plumlee's not going to be able to do anything going up against him. I know he's been averaging below this, and pretty much every single time I bet this, it ends up losing. But all the numbers are pointing towards taking his over. I think we have him projected for 34, if I remember correctly. 30.44. Never mind. Off on decimal place. I don't care. I still like the over quite a bit. Jimmy Butler under 23.5 points. You can get this at minus 117 over at Caesars. Butler seems to always just beat this by the hook. I don't know why. I don't understand it. We have him projected for 23.07. Line starting to move down. It's minus 120 is the best line now. I'd still take it at that. Rozier, this is where RG projections really agree with me. Over 21.5 points. Rozier has been solid overall this season. Obviously, we still are without LaMelo, still without Hayward. So he's going to be the main part of this offense. It's an easy over here. I'm rolling with it. Minus 110 at DK is just bad line at 21.5. Brandon Ingram under 34.5 points, rebounds, assists. I'm rolling with the under. You can get that at minus 113 over at Caesars. Really simple here. Ingram with everyone in this offense. I mean, they've got Herb Jones, obviously more of a defensive specialist, but CJ McCollum, Ingram, Zion, J-Val. I'm rolling with the under. RG projections aren't with me. I don't really care. I really like the under in this spot. Zion Williamson over 23.5 points rather. Zion, we have projected for 25.34. He's averaging well under this on the season, but playing a decent enough minutes. Good matchup going up against Portland. Just faced them, I think it was last night. Might have been 2 nights ago. It was last night. Didn't end up hitting, but only had like 4 points in the first half. Ended up with 16. Should do better tonight. I'm rolling with the over. But that's it. That's the show. Doesn't look like you guys have any questions. Again, all my picks up in the Discord right here every single day. So just rolling them on in there. Don't have to worry about a bunch of crap. Don't have to worry about me talking about it. If you want the actual ones I write up, which are generally my favorite ones, go roll with those. But yeah, that's the show. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm out of here. Flair, kids!